Good evening, YouTube! Rock on! Okay, so, old school. We have to go old school. I don't have a lathe anymore, don't have a machine shop anymore. And well, as it turned out, I kind of boogered up a little bit on the disc sander and didn't account for the taper in this barrel. This is from my Rossi 22-410 gun. So you just swap barrels for whatever, caliber / shell. Anyhow, so this 22 barrel didn't want to group and the crown was screwy. So I sanded it and I got a bit of an angle to it. Shot like crap. So we got to redo this. But so I found my machinist blocks, which you're not going to hurt machinist blocks even with a file. So you want to get your little boo-boo edge to be sticking out, and you want a good edge flush. And then you're going to take files of different cuts once you get all this mounted up. Important part is getting these blocks as evenly as you possibly can to the face here, and then of course getting your barrel held in at the same time. You're going to need one deep side, one shallow side on the blocks because both deeps are too fat, so it ain't going to clamp. So one fat, one shallow, and you get the barrel in here. And I've been working at this for a little bit, and I got most of it flat again. This edge here is completely flat, so we're okay there. That's the good side, and we can tell by the feel that, yep, we're into the good. And all we got to do now is just go at this with the different files, figure out which one of your fine files is the best side to use. That's not going to work too well. This should cut pretty good here. And it's going to take a bit of work. Now, your files will fill up with metal filing, so give them a couple wraps. Now, don't be afraid to dig in when you do this because, like I said, you're not going to hurt the blocks, but you got to make sure this is also clamped down really tight because you don't want to move the barrel either. And this is a little bit of a rough one, but that's okay. When you're done, though, everything should be flat all the way around when you're finished. And provided you did your job right, you're going to have a good flat 90-degree surface. It doesn't matter one little stick what the outside technically looks like physically, as long as it's flat. It has to be 90 degrees flat, or your crown is going to be crooked, especially when you go to recrown this after. Okay, so you got to make sure it's at least flat. So basically it doesn't have to look pretty, but it has to be flat and it has to work. But I am going to finish this up with a sander as well while it's still mounted, so I can ensure a nice smooth surface. So I have a couple options, one of which is this little block here, which I can just go back and run back and forth. Okay, and this is some very fine sandpaper, which gives it a bit of a nice polished good look. It also helps us to see darker and lighter sides, so we can see what's going on here with our angle to make sure that we're staying where we should be. And it looks like we still have an edge on this side. We can also feel that edge here. It's still up high here, but it's flat here, and it's flat there. But it's just risen up just on this one side here. So we just got to keep working at it. That's too tall there for that. Doing it this way, you can get down it a little bit better, faster, you know. So you don't actually have to use files. You can use sandpaper on a block. The important thing is you got to get it all flat. And like I said, you won't hurt the machinist blocks by doing this, so you're not going to misshape anything. they will stay the way they're supposed to be, perfectly flat. So, and when we're done, this whole surface of the barrel will be perfectly even and flush and flat. I'm not going to keep you here for this process because it's about another almost an hour worth of work, but that's how you get the barrel back to 90 degrees, okay? And it's the only way you can do this unless you have access to a machine shop, or, you know, but if you have even these machinist blocks, which you can buy at any machinist supply store, they have them. You can get them online. Princess Auto, I think, should have them. Definitely Busy Bee Tools. If you're in the States, Harbor Freight's your place, right, or wherever. But it is recommended both sets because you're going to need at least 3 to 4 inches worth of meat inside there to keep everything stable, okay? Now, as far as your vise goes, you can do this on a regular bench vise. It's not a big issue. It's just a hell of a lot harder to set it up, okay? So if you have a cross-slide vise, or a vise that has a flat surface even, just a cheap milling vise, they're like, you know, 30, 40 bucks, okay? I just have the cross-slide because, well, I use this on my drill press, so I figured take it off and do this job, and it works absolutely great doing this sort of thing. So, and when we're done, we got to clean the barrel because, you know, there's no point in plugging up the barrel to do this, okay? Because you're going to take the barrel and you're going to hang it downward, and then you're going to start cleaning, pushing pads down, take it off, pull the rod out, put another pad, push it all down, clean it all out with your gun cleaning stuff, and get all that cleaned out. Then you're going to take a look at your crown, and then you're going to decide how you want to do your crown, either with a proper crowning tool, which you can buy those for, I don't know how much they are, I've never had to buy one. I just use a brass-headed screw and it works fine. Done that for years. But there is a tool that does a really professional level job, much better than a brass screw, but even a brass screw can do basically 3/4 of the way to pro. Okay, more than good enough for a little 22, that's for damn sure. But as you're doing this, you know, just check it every once in a while, check the edging. Okay, we're still doing good here. We still got a bit here around the edge. The top will come flat either way because it doesn't have a choice. So we're just gonna keep doing this. But you do need fine cutting files. They do a lot nicer job. The coarse, if you have a coarse one that actually can peel the meat down a little quicker, great. But if not, the fine cutters peel it down really good and it leaves a nicer finish. And like I said, you can finish it up too with some, you know, even 400-600 grit sandpaper. Give it a nice little polished look if you like, but it doesn't really matter what that part looks like. The crown is what matters in making sure it's at 90 degrees when you're done. So, because if it's not at 90, good luck sighting in your gun with anything. So, and I think this is part of the problem with this barrel right from the factory. It didn't shoot well with anything I ran through the barrel before I even touched it. So even after touching it up, I didn't really do it any harm, you know. So now I got to fix all that a lot better because I just dawned on me tonight. Hey, wait, you've got this. You can fix this after all, right? Because my only other option was go for a 4-hour drive to my buddy's place whenever he wants company, and I'll be able to get him to do this for me. But you know, he taught me a lot about being a machinist when I was doing that stuff years ago. He's one of many people, and well, this is something that I've been doing before to fix up crowns and barrels that are screwed up, because sometimes it just takes nipping a little bit off the front, cleaning it up. But I thought, because I've done it before on just a belt sander, then a cleanup, it worked. But I didn't account for the taper in this. That was the thing. And this is also a firearm barrel, and it's not a pellet gun barrel, so it's not already, you know, a perfectly round surface the same way. So it's different. So but the technique will work. Do the job right, and you'll have a perfectly fine barrel when you're done. And then you'll be able to sight in your gun and get something shooting out of this thing. See you on the next one.